And I had one of those days where you're like tested, but it's totally a test of response, reaction. Fucking, it's a test of this is what you usually do. What are you going to do this time? What are you going to do today? So, I did something different. I have this reaction, this response, whenever I feel like I'm being ganged up on, or if I feel somehow like I'm being blamed for something that I'm not responsible for. Like I didn't do anything wrong, but somebody's trying to say that I did. I get defensive. I get into a place of like, I'll scrap for it. You know what I mean? Like I will fight on and die on this hill to prove that I didn't do what you think I did or what you said that I did, because I'm used to people throwing me under the bus for things. And over the course of my life, 98% of the time there wasn't really a reason for it other than I'm easy to blame for things. People that get involved end up being the person people assume are, what's the right words here? Alright, so I'm a very organizational person. So if I organize the back room of whatever job I'm at and somebody can't find something, he did it. You know, he moved them. And maybe I didn't, but like I'm the most likely person to have moved them and they can't find what they need. You know, that's what I'm talking about. Today there was something kind of like that, where it was like I followed protocol. I did exactly what I was supposed to do in the circumstance that I did it, but somebody had set something aside that wasn't supposed to be moved, and I moved it, and then it was gone. I was supposed to move things that weren't tagged, but not that one. So it was kind of like I didn't know what was supposed to be happening with it. I didn't know it was included in this caveat, this thing that was an exception. And it caused some kind of trouble, and I immediately wanted to be defensive. I wanted to say, that's not my fault or my problem. I did what I was supposed to do. And my reaction from being blamed for things that weren't my fault so many times over the years is to go fight or flight. So after I decided that I didn't want to fight about it, because I don't love confrontation. I will be confrontational if I need to be. I will defend myself, but I don't seek out battles, you know what I mean? So when I realized, or when I thought that finger pointing was going to be happening, my immediate reaction was like, okay, well, if they want to play the blame game over something like it's not really that big of a deal anyway, then maybe I should go. Maybe I should just quit, find another job. And I realized when I was on my break, just like cooling down afterwards, that was a drastic response. The first sign of trouble, the first misunderstanding, the first time I get blamed for anything, and I'm thinking about going out the door. So that's what I was trying to deal with today. My own reactions and responses, because that is not an appropriate reaction to something like a common misunderstanding. Can't find my PJs. So after cooling down in the car, whatever, you know, I went back in and we talked it out, and it was fine. We bonded. We said like, okay, well, this is the system that we're working on. These are the areas that created this gap. And the result of it is that we are going to have a better system that works in tandem with each other. We know that we need clear communication, and the papers have to have like X amount of information in order for us to know exactly what's going on. So we came out of that situation better. But before we could get to the better part, I was going to run. So that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm dealing with. My reactions. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad that I went back in there and I talked it out and we did the thing. And now we're in a much better place. And I got out 2 hours early, so like I get a little bit of extra time. I thought about going to the lake, but my legs are fucked. I'm so sore all the time, forever. Until my body adjusts to this, I'm like pinning my workouts. And I'm gonna wait until my regular amount of soreness from the job is light enough that I can introduce light weightlifting. And I'm gonna reintroduce my weightlifting at low weight on top of my regular work. And once I've got the physical routine of doing both in the same day, I can up the weights again. But I know I'm going to pull something, man. I'm going to pull something if I'm not careful. So I'm taking it real easy. And walking isn't something that's in danger of pulling a muscle. But I do want to make sure that I'm rested enough to be able to work effectively. And I didn't fall into that cycle of, you know, at my last job, my work ethic determined my self-worth. And I didn't allow that to be questioned. Like, I didn't go into that spiral of, okay, he's mad at me. None of the work that I've been doing is being appreciated. Because that's what happened before. When somebody got mad at me or played the blame game or started pointing fingers at me despite working my ass off, I would be like, okay, well, you're not appreciating me for what I'm bringing to the table. I'm out. And that's what I would do. And it wasn't always quitting the job. It was transferring stores. It was not setting the expectation of above. I wouldn't set the expectation that I was going to go above and beyond anymore if that wasn't being validated and appreciated. Like, I'm not going to work myself to the bone if that's not something that's even, if they don't even appreciate that that's happening. You know? If the system, if the organization, if the changes being implemented are lost on the people above you, then you shouldn't do them. Because no matter how effective it is, if they won't give you a chance to prove that it works and they don't cooperate with the system that's going to be effective, then it's not going to matter. But that's not a problem that this boss has. And I think that was another part of this test, generalizing. No matter how many times you drop a stone to the floor, it could always float to the ceiling. You cannot predict the future based on past events. And just because every other manager I've had has been closed-minded and played the blame game and thrown you under the bus in order to make themselves look better, that does not mean that this is going to be the case here. And I think that's what I just proved to myself. That's what he just proved to me. That that's not how he wants to operate. So I'm going to take my extra long afternoon and clear out whatever was making me feel that snapback, that return of past reactions. Because at the end of the day, I had enough self-awareness to stop myself from doing that. I didn't spiral. I didn't let it ruin my afternoon. I didn't do anything drastic. I did not react in a way that damaged the relationship. I didn't say anything that I didn't mean or anything that damaged, the relationship there. So everything's fine. But this was my first situation back in the workplace after so long that has tested my reactions. And I think that's pretty cool if I made it a whole month without any incidents to even put me in the spot. I think deprogramming your mind can be a really difficult thing. And you have to be kind and gentle with yourself and take it day by day, situation by situation, and stand on your boundaries. Know what your boundaries are. But don't bleed on people that didn't cut you. Just Flying By. Favorite quote from Just Flying By. I'm sure it's from something else, but I don't know what it is. That's just where I hear it. He has not done me wrong. So I'm not going to act like